You know Mozart, the genius child, the immortal composer, the man who wrote music so beautiful that 2 centuries later we still struggle to explain where it came from. But history buried something deeply uncomfortable. When Mozart toured Europe as a child prodigy, audiences were not coming to see one genius, they were coming to see 2. Because standing beside Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was a little girl receiving the exact same applause. Her name was Maria Anna Mozart, Nannerl, his older sister. And according to the one man who trained them both, their father, she possessed the same brilliance, the same artistry, the same gift. Then, at 18 years old, her career ended almost overnight. Not because she failed, not because she stopped loving music, because she was a woman. And what happened next may be one of the greatest cultural losses in music history. Welcome back to Day 17. Tonight we uncover the story of the forgotten Mozart.
To understand how extraordinary Nannerl Mozart truly was, you have to forget everything modern history taught you about the Mozart family. Because in the beginning, Wolfgang was not the sole star. There were 2 miracles in that house. Their father, Leopold Mozart, recognised Nannerl's talent almost immediately. She was only 7 years old when he began training her seriously on the clavier, and she progressed at terrifying speed. By 11, she was performing difficult works across Europe in front of aristocrats, diplomats, and royal courts. Then came Wolfgang, younger, energetic, wildly gifted. But for years the children were presented as a pair, a phenomenon. In 1763, the Mozart family embarked on a brutal 3.5-year tour through Europe. The children performed constantly, sometimes for nobility, sometimes for packed salons filled with intellectual elites desperate to witness the famous prodigies. Munich, Paris, London, Amsterdam, Versailles. Everywhere they went, audiences were stunned. And this is the crucial detail history quietly erased. Contemporary accounts did not describe Wolfgang as the obvious superior. Again and again, witnesses praised both children. Leopold himself wrote that Nannerl played with the same art and taste as her brother. Not surprisingly well for a girl, not almost as good, the same art, the same taste. Imagine hearing that from the father of Mozart. And then there is the most haunting part of all. Nannerl was composing music too. We know this because Wolfgang mentioned her compositions in letters with genuine admiration. He encouraged her to continue writing. He asked to see more, but not a single composition survives today. Not one. No preserved manuscripts, no published collections, no lost symphonies rediscovered in an attic. Nothing. An entire creative voice disappeared so completely that historians can only reconstruct it through fragments in private correspondence. Then came the year 1769. Nannerl turned 18, and with that birthday, the trajectory of her life changed forever. There was no dramatic explosion, no public scandal, no catastrophic failure. The destruction of her career happened quietly, which somehow makes it worse. In 18th century Europe, an unmarried woman performing professionally in public became socially dangerous once she reached adulthood. A child prodigy was charming. A grown woman travelling across Europe on stage was something else entirely. Respectability mattered more than genius. And so, Leopold made a decision. Wolfgang would continue touring. Nannerl would stay home. Just like that, the partnership ended. Wolfgang left for Italy, where his reputation exploded into something historic. The operas, the commissions, the connections. These became the foundation of the legend we now call Mozart. Meanwhile, Nannerl remained in Salzburg, teaching piano lessons, managing household duties, watching the life she once shared continue without her. And this is where the story becomes emotionally devastating. Wolfgang continued writing to her. The letters were warm, playful, deeply affectionate. They exchanged jokes, musical ideas, family gossip. He clearly loved her, but he never brought her back into the public world of music. No one did. History often imagines oppression as loud and violent, but sometimes it sounds like silence. Sometimes it looks like a gifted woman slowly disappearing behind the walls of her own home. For years, the emotional bond between the siblings survived distance. Then Wolfgang fell in love with Constanze Weber. The marriage caused chaos inside the Mozart family. Leopold hated it. Nannerl kept her distance. And according to surviving records, she and Constanze never truly accepted one another. Slowly, the letters between Wolfgang and Nannerl became less frequent, then sporadic, then almost non-existent. It is one of the cruelest details in this story. Two people who experienced one of the most extraordinary childhoods in European history drifted apart before either truly understood what they had lost. In 1784, Nannerl entered an arranged marriage with a magistrate much older than herself, a widower with children. It was not a marriage built around artistic ambition. It was stability, duty, expectation. 3 years later, Leopold Mozart died. Wolfgang did not attend the funeral, and sometime after that, the brother and sister saw each other for the final time, without realizing it would be the last. On December 5, 1791, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart died at the age of 35. Nannerl was 40, and astonishingly, nearly half of her life would still happen after his death. She lived long enough to witness Beethoven reshape music, long enough to see the Romantic era emerge from the foundations her brother helped build, long enough to watch the world transform Mozart into a myth. But her own identity slowly dissolved into his shadow. For decades, historians and biographers travelled to Salzburg, searching for insight into Mozart's genius. And again, they visited Nannerl. She preserved the letters, shared the memories, explained the childhood, protected the archive. In many ways, she became one of the primary caretakers of Mozart's immortality, but almost nobody asked about hers. Imagine carrying the memory of your own erased potential for 40 years. Imagine hearing audiences worship the genius you once stood beside as an equal. Imagine knowing history only kept one of you.
We will never know what music Nannerl Mozart might have written, not because she lacked talent. Her father testified to her brilliance. Her brother admired her compositions. European courts applauded her performances. The tragedy is not that she failed. The tragedy is that she was never allowed to continue. A door closed in 1769, and once it closed, the world never reopened it. Today, Wolfgang Mozart is remembered as one of the greatest composers who ever lived. But somewhere inside the silence left behind by Nannerl Mozart, there exists a question history can never answer. What would happen if both children had been allowed to become everything they were capable of becoming? I've added some of the music Wolfgang wrote to perform alongside Nannerl to our Spotify playlist. Close your eyes and listen carefully. You are hearing a conversation between two equals. This is day 17 of our 365-day journey. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs it today. And subscribe. I'll see you for day 18.